Is Hamilton ready to win with Ferrari in 2025? Because the results in Bahrain have surprised everyone. But before I tell you the details, tell me in the comments, do you think Ferrari has a championship car this year? Because what we saw in testing could change everything. Has Hamilton already surpassed Leclerc? The results of the third day of testing in Bahrain have left more questions than answers about Ferrari's true performance and in particular, about Lewis Hamilton's performance in his new stage with the Scuderia. While George Russell surprised by setting the best time of the day with a 1 minute and 29.545 seconds, beating Max Verstappen by just 21 thousandths of a second, Ferrari's situation remained more discreet on the timesheets. Hamilton closed the day in 6th position with a time of 1 minute and 30.345 seconds, almost 8/10 off the best time of the day. The most significant statistic, however, is that he beat teammate Charles Leclerc by almost half a second, a considerable margin in the context of preseason testing. Lap times are an important indicator, but they must be looked at in context. In preseason testing, teams run different work programs that can include varying fuel loads, different aerodynamic configurations and power unit tweaks. A fast time on the lap chart does not always mean that team will have an advantage in the season, just as poor performance does not automatically imply competitiveness issues. The performance gap between Hamilton and Leclerc suggests that the Briton is quickly adapting to the SF-25, a fact that cannot be overlooked considering that he joins Ferrari after 15 seasons at Mercedes. During the first day of testing, Hamilton had some mistakes on track and struggled to find a consistent rhythm. However, his evolution has been evident, improving his times in each session and managing to beat Leclerc on the final day. Another relevant aspect is the approach that Ferrari adopted on the day. While teams like Mercedes and Red Bull went for fast times and short runs, Ferrari opted for work more oriented towards data collection and race simulations. The reliability of the SF-25 has been one of the most notable positive points, with significant mileage accumulated over the 3 days of testing and no serious mechanical problems. In terms of tire compounds, there is one key detail to consider. Hamilton mainly used the C3 compound, while Leclerc tested a wider range that included the C1, C2, C3 and C4 compounds. This means that the times between the two may have been influenced by the type of tire used in each stint. Softer compounds offer greater grip and allow for faster times on a flying lap, while harder ones are designed for greater durability in race simulations. While the preseason time should be interpreted with caution, the data suggests that Hamilton has found a competitive rhythm in the SF-25 and that his adaptation process is progressing positively. What will really determine Ferrari's potential will be its performance in the first races of the season, when the conditions will be fully representative and all the teams will reveal their true performance. The third day of testing in Bahrain has left clear signals about the approach that Ferrari has taken in this preseason and the performance of the SF-25 in different track conditions. Unlike other teams that prioritize the search for fast times on individual laps, Ferrari concentrated its work on long runs and data collection, suggesting that its main objective has been to evaluate the reliability and behavior of the car under different configurations. One of the highlights was the mechanical solidity of the SF-25 throughout the 3 days. The lack of serious technical issues is a key point for any team in preseason, as it allows them to maximize track time and gain valuable insights before the start of the season. In Ferrari's case, this reliability translated into high accumulated mileage, with Hamilton and Leclerc completing sessions without significant interruptions. The consistency in the laps completed reinforces the idea that Ferrari has worked to build a stable car, capable of withstanding demanding conditions without compromising its performance. Another important aspect has been the difference in the work programs between the two drivers. While Hamilton focused mostly on the use of C3 tires, Leclerc tested a wider range that included the C1, C2, C3 and C4 compounds. This strategy suggests that Ferrari has sought to understand how the SF-25 behaves with different tire configurations, a key factor in defining race strategies throughout the season. The harder tires offer greater durability, which is essential for long races, while the softer ones provide greater grip in qualifying laps. Hamilton's evolution in these days has also been a point to highlight. On his first day in charge of the SF-25, an adaptation process was evident with some errors on the track in times that did not reflect his true potential. However, in the following days he showed clear progress, improving his records and reaching a competitive performance. His best time on the third day was almost half a second faster than Leclerc's, a significant difference considering that he is still in the process of adjusting to his new team. Another key factor has been the way Ferrari has structured its simulations. On the second day of testing, Hamilton completed 45 laps in the morning session, while Leclerc racked up 84 in the afternoon session. This meticulous approach has allowed the team to gather data in a variety of track conditions, testing setups that could prove decisive when the season starts. The methodology is likely to have been similar on the third day, with each driver running specific programs to optimize their knowledge of the car. The pace of the SF-25 compared to other teams is one of the biggest unknowns to come out of preseason testing. While Red Bull and Mercedes have shown competitive times in a variety of conditions, Ferrari appear to have chosen not to reveal their full potential in these sessions. The lap times suggest that the Italian team has not yet sought out the maximum performance of the car, possibly saving its true pace for the first race of the season. Beyond the timing, what will really make the difference for Ferrari will be the ability of the SF-25 to maintain consistent performance in the race and its adaptation to different circuits throughout the year. The work carried out in Bahrain is only the first step in a season that is expected to be highly competitive, and the data collected in these days will be key to the evolution of the car in the coming races. Ferrari begins the 2025 season with great expectations following the incorporation of Lewis Hamilton and the development of the SF-25. The tests in Bahrain have given mixed signals about the true potential of the team, but some indicators allow us to project what can be expected in the first races of the year and how Ferrari could position itself in the fight for the championship. One of the most positive factors has been the reliability of the car. Throughout the 3 days of testing, Ferrari has shown great consistency on track, with no major mechanical problems or significant interruptions to its work program. This is crucial in a season where every point counts and any reliability lapse can seriously compromise the team's position in the Constructors' Championship. The ability to complete a large number of laps without mechanical issues reinforces the idea that Ferrari has developed a structurally and aerodynamically sound car. Hamilton's performance has been another point of analysis. Despite being in the midst of adapting to his new team, he has shown a steady improvement in his times, indicating that he is finding a way to maximize the potential of the SF-25. On the third day of testing, he managed to outpace Charles Leclerc by a considerable margin, suggesting that he is quickly reaching a competitive level. However, the real question is whether he can maintain this pace throughout the season and whether Ferrari will be able to offer him a car capable of competing against Red Bull and Mercedes. Tire management has been a key aspect in preseason testing and will be decisive throughout the year. Ferrari has experimented with different compounds, allowing both drivers to gather data on how the SF-25 responds in different track conditions. In previous seasons, tire degradation has been a weak point for the team, affecting its performance in races with high strategic demands. If Ferrari manages to improve in this area in 2025, it could represent a significant advantage on circuits where tire management makes the difference. The internal struggle between Hamilton and Leclerc will also be a decisive factor in the team's dynamics. Ferrari has opted for Hamilton with the aim of taking advantage of his experience and winning mentality, but Leclerc remains one of the great promises of the category and will look to establish himself as a leader within the team. Managing this rivalry will be fundamental to the team's success. If Ferrari manages to balance the competitiveness between its drivers without generating unnecessary tensions, it could become a serious contender for the championship. In terms of race pace, testing in Bahrain has not made it clear whether Ferrari is in a position to challenge Red Bull and Mercedes from the start of the season. Although qualifying times were not spectacular, consistency in long runs indicates that the team could be competitive in race conditions. However, the real answer will only come when the cars face each other in a real competition, where fuel strategies, tire wear, and pit decisions will play a crucial role. The start of the season in Australia will be the first big test for Ferrari. If the SF-25 shows competitive performance compared to its direct rivals, the team could establish itself as a serious title contender. But if the first few races reveal shortcomings in pace or strategy, Ferrari will have to react quickly to stay in contention throughout the year. The key will be the team's ability to develop during the season, ensuring that aerodynamic and mechanical updates can keep pace with Red Bull and Mercedes. Testing in Bahrain has left an open outlook, but with signs that Ferrari has built a solid foundation for the 2025 season. The combination of reliability, experience in the driver lineup, and a more structured strategic approach could give the team the chance to break the title-less streak that stretches back to 2008 in the Constructors' Championship and 2007 in the Drivers'. The question that remains is whether Ferrari will be able to translate these good signs into concrete results once the real competition begins. Preseason testing in Bahrain has left more questions than answers about what to expect from Ferrari and Lewis Hamilton in the 2025 season. Although lap times have not been the most eye-catching compared to Red Bull and Mercedes, the reliability of the SF-25 and Hamilton's progression have been encouraging signs for the Italian team. The Briton has shown that his adaptation process is progressing quickly, beating Charles Leclerc on the third day of testing and showing steady improvement throughout the sessions. However, the real test will come in the first races of the year, when the teams reveal their true potential and the competition unfolds under real race conditions. Ferrari has built a car that looks solid in terms of stability and consistency, but the big question remains whether it can translate this into victories against rivals such as Red Bull and Mercedes. The development strategy during the season will be key, as any initial advantage achieved by a team could be neutralized with aerodynamic and mechanical improvements throughout the year. The first few races will not only define the competitiveness of the SF-25, but also the dynamics within the team. Hamilton and Leclerc will have to work together to maximize the performance of the car, but at the same time they will compete for the leading position within Ferrari. How the team handles this situation could determine its stability throughout the season. The tests in Bahrain have been just the first chapter in a story that will unfold throughout the year. Expectations are at their highest, and the real answer about Ferrari's performance and Hamilton's role in his new stage will come when the traffic lights go out in Australia. Now the question is clear. Has Ferrari done enough to fight for the title in 2025? Leave it in the comments and share your opinion on what you expect this season. If you want to follow all the action of Formula One and know every detail of what happens on the track, subscribe and turn on notifications. The season has just begun, and what comes next could change the history of the championship.